So, long day at work today, and I really made some breakthroughs on the stuff that I work at. It sucks. There's like 0% chance I could talk about what I work on, but I could just say that it really makes me think about technology, the future, and it makes me appreciate old cars and simple technology, which is kind of going to be the focus of this car chat. So, I am a firm believer. There's some weird, unique cases, and I think we'll talk about these up front because I don't want the nuanced people to be all whatever. So, if you know nothing about cars, if you just need something that will 100% just get you A to B over the course of a year or 2 years, then this doesn't apply to you. I think that knocks out like 90% of the cases. But I highly advocate for everyone to get an older vehicle. About like 2014, actually, you know what? That number bumps up a little bit. Maybe like 2016. I think 2016 and older is that perfect year. Because after 2016, we reach a point where there's too much technology in cars. We start getting all the lane keep, all the, what's it called? That's telemetry, the tracking, all the extra stuff in a car, where your car can become a brick from something that is completely outside of your purview, outside of your control, and manufacturers have too much control over something that technically is yours. I don't want to say that was terrible. Hold on. Not that's technically yours. That is 100% yours. You bought this car with your hard-earned money. It should 100% be yours. But these car manufacturers are inserting every which way that they can, exerting their control over your car. The debate that I had seen that kind of started all this was way back in the day when there was like an article that was put out that BMW was going to have their heated seats be on a paid subscription. And the fallout of that was insane. But we see that car manufacturers have still, I don't know if BMW went through with that, but car manufacturers still did like a soft deployment pretty much of that concept. Toyota, they equip most of their new cars with remote start. And it'll work. You know, three tap remote start. Most newer Toyotas, if you do lock, and then on that third lock, you hold it down. Most of them will remote start. Hidden in the clause is that it only works for 10 years. It's included as part of your Toyota remote sense or whatever they call it, the app subscription. And right now it's kind of in the air. I think that clause has been in there since, I think it's right around that year 2016. It was with that third gen Tacoma when all the new updates were coming out. So only right now, within these most recent years, are we going to start seeing what happens when you reach that 10-year mark. Because the debate has been, well, is Toyota going to actually disable the remote start that works with your key, or is it only the one that starts in the app? So far, they've been undiscernible. They do the same thing, and Toyota, your vehicle is constantly pinging Toyota servers. If you have a 2016 and newer Toyota, look up at your center console where your sunglasses holder is. If you have that SOS light, or if you see any electronics up there, those things are constantly pinging to Toyota all the telemetry data. It lets them know how you're driving. They collect your driving data. You have to manually go into the Toyota app to deselect these options, these telemetry options, because by default, they are enabled and they're sending your driving data to your insurance company. They don't even need all those old ads with Progressive and State Farm or whatever, where they give you the OBD2 plug that plugs into the bottom of your car. You don't even need to do that anymore, because Toyota, I keep on dogging on Toyota, but it's most manufacturers now. Toyota, Honda, Kia, Nissan. They are all by default collecting your driving information, driving data, because we have all these sensors now, and they're sending it out to your insurer. You know what doesn't collect on you? A 2010 Toyota Sequoia that has no cell data, nothing to collect or send information for the entire life of the vehicle. No cell phone remote start. No app to pair to this thing. You have a double DIN radio that has Bluetooth, your regular AM FM radio, a CD player, and some TPMS sensors, tire pressure. This is why I stand by that anything before 2016-ish, with a grain of salt, is the perfect mix between no technology, because 90s vehicles are getting a little bit aged out now, and also just a little bit unsafe, but between the lack of technology and too much technology. They're also significantly cheaper, and you're not going to be paying between 7 to 20% APR interest on not a used vehicle, on a new vehicle that's going to end up costing you $60,000. I bought this 2010 Toyota Sequoia with it had 200,000 miles at time of purchase. Right now it's about to hit 205. I picked it up for $6,000. This was owned by a family. It's not perfect. It has scratches on the outside. It has dents on the outside. But what I did get was the pinnacle, reliable Toyota. This has the 5.7 in it. And the 5.7 isn't the end-all be-all. The 4.7 was great. Their 3.4 V6 was perfect. But their 4-cylinder engines, past about the 2006 era, when they had the piston rings that were the eco piston rings that were sized lower to, reduce drag so that it was better for fuel efficiency, they were blowing up. But their 4 cylinders, most of their 4 cylinders, that's a 2A ZFE that had the piston ring issue, extremely reliable. $6,000. And that's not to say that I didn't have to do a lot of service when I bought this vehicle. I had to replace the brakes all around, preventative maintenance. I did coolant. I did my serpentine belts. I did a transmission fluid change, engine oil change, and an overall inspection on everything outside. But these are all maintenance items. These are all things that no matter what car you get, would eventually need to be replaced. And for $6,000, the brakes were $500 front and back for drilled and slotted rotors. I got those because I will be towing with this vehicle. $100 in coolant because this is a larger engine. And a couple bits and pieces here and there. All in $7,000. We could just double those costs. Even for $8,000 for a reliable Toyota vehicle is it's such a small amount compared to what most people that buy brand new vehicles between 7 and 16% APR over the course of 7 to 9 years. I've been seeing people with these super long loans that is so scary. You're paying so much money. I've gone off on a tangent, but I still stand by both stances that I established here. I would say a taken care of older vehicle is 1,000 times better than anything new that you can get in this market. Now, some caveats to this. I do own a newer Toyota. I own a 2020 RAV4. It's the hybrid. I bought that platform because it has been proven over the course of I think it's the 5th gen RAV4. It's being used as taxis in New York City. It's been used for all sorts of transport. It was the best-selling vehicle for years. And it's been proven reliable. The hybrid platform is more reliable than the V6. And I went ahead and jumped on that train. That's my wife's vehicle, and it does amazing. It has needed nothing but basic maintenance. Now, it 100% collects telemetry data. I have personally signed into the Toyota app and declined all the insurance information declined all the telemetry collection, and I unsubscribed from is it okay to send your information to your insurance company? Absolutely not. Now, do I get the lowest rate, like insurance rate ever? No. But also, I don't risk my insurance going up because I swerved to avoid a box in the road, or because I had to slam on my brakes because a child almost ran out in the street. I'll gladly take that. Also, with newer vehicles, basic maintenance has become a little bit cumbersome. It's not as simple as it used to be, where you just have to take off a skid plate, or maybe not even take off a skid plate because it has holes cut out in it for you to remove the oil filter, for you to drain the radiator to do a coolant change, transmission fluid changes. There's no longer transmission fluid dipsticks. Basic maintenance has become cumbersome a little bit. And it's to push out the people that potential DIYers are no longer potential DIYers, because they have a concept in their head of how these things work. Oh, there's an engine, there's a transmission. And then they open their hood and they're greeted by a giant hybrid battery, bright orange cables, missing dipsticks, and they're a little bit overwhelmed. Not to mention that the engine bays are becoming so cramped because of how much stuff is in there. If I showed you my RAV4 engine bay, the first time I looked at that, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit overwhelmed. I'm like, what is all this? The average family, the average mom and dad, even a single person is a busy person. You have work, you're going to school. If you have children, there are other priorities in life, and I understand people are not going to take time out of their day to sit here and learn about the auto market. I understand. I am passionate about these things, but I 100% understand that not everybody is. It's just very unfortunate that corporations have constantly pushed to make everything so vague and so out of reach, out of pure greed. And that's what motivates me in the videos that I make, and in wanting to express the knowledge that I have, is because I'm tired of the little people getting screwed over by big corporations, or just like getting screwed over out of, I don't want to say ignorance, because it's not their fault, but it's the simple thing of like, you don't know what you don't know. And the little people are getting screwed over every day. It's the same reason I hate salesmen of any kind. You shouldn't need to be convinced to buy something. You know a little bit of like, what you need, right? There's things that you know that you need in life, right? Obviously, I need a vehicle. I don't need a salesman to tell me that I need a vehicle, and to try and convince me that I need to add a roof rack or a PPF package or whatever to my vehicle. Some of those things could be useful, I understand. But I didn't need a salesman for that. It's the same thing for insurance. Oh man, don't get me started on insurance. That's a whole different topic. But I've been rambling a little bit. There's multiple reasons, but I advocate for everybody to get an older vehicle. Not too old. Anything before 2016, maybe newer than, I would say, 2008, 2009. And that's my rant for today. And remember, stay learning.